Is this the archaeologists' bigger discovery ever? They think they may have found Nefertiti's tomb. Nefertiti was Akhenaten's wife. And we see that we have a depiction, a stele, a column, with their outlines. Their profiles show that they had elongated skulls. Even their daughters had elongated skulls. The stele of Akhenaten and his family in the Egyptian Museum in Cairo. And that's why it's so important if this has in fact been discovered. The beautiful and powerful queen, the great royal wife, thought to have ruled ancient Egypt 14th century BC. Archaeologists and Egyptologists for many decades were searching for her tomb, her royal tomb. It was never found. Thought that it may be hidden and buried in the desert. Queen Nefertiti's tomb may indeed be hidden behind walls of the 3,300-year-old tomb of King Tutankhamun. This is what archaeologists led by former Egyptian ministries of antiquity Mamdouh el-Damati believe. They said in an unpublished academic report recently presented to Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities and Nature magazine, archaeologists studying Tut's tomb reported on their use of ground-penetrating radar. They discovered what they say is a hidden corridor-like area a few meters, a few yards from Tutankhamun's burial chamber. It's here where Nefertiti, great royal wife and queen who presided over one of the most prosperous and stable periods in ancient Egyptian history, is buried. This is what they believe anyway. The theory that Nefertiti, great royal wife and possible co-ruler alongside King Akhenaten, was buried in Tut's tomb was first put forth by British Egyptologist Nicholas Reeves back in 2015, but the claims have since then been challenged, with a team led by Francesco Porcelli of the Turin Polytechnic University. His conclusions in 2017 is that there is no hidden rooms in or around that tomb. And Dr. Ray Johnson, Egyptologist at the University of Chicago Oriental Institute, states that the group's findings were tremendously exciting, noting that clearly there is something on the other side of the north wall of this burial chamber. Now, Zahi Hawass, we all know him, another former Egyptian antiquities minister, expressed doubts about the new claims, and he's insisting that the use of ground-penetrating radar never made any discovery at any site in Egypt. Okay? So for his part, Dr. Reeves stressed that it were confirmed that Nefertiti was buried with the honors of a pharaoh. It could be the biggest archaeological discovery ever. And Reeves stresses that any alterations to Tut's tomb should be held off until an international conference of experts is gathered, giving the priceless artwork contained along the walls of Tut's chamber. Tutankhamun's tomb was discovered in 1922 by British archaeologists who became the first living people to enter the tomb in over 3,000 years. Thousands of artifacts ranging from gold chariots, musical instruments, board games were found. The burial site remained the only pharaoh tomb to ever been discovered intact and unpilfered. So we'll see what they come up with. They have not entered that other chamber, what they think is a chamber behind there. And the fact is that they have tremendous, you'll see in the link below, they have tremendous artwork in King Tut's tomb. So they have to be very careful what they're doing in order to open up any holes into other corridors leading to other chambers beneath the walls, behind the walls. Now, according to Wikipedia, Nefertiti from 1370 BC to 1330 BC was the Egyptian queen, the great royal wife of Akhenaten, the Egyptian pharaoh. Nefertiti and her husband were known for a religious revolution in which they worshipped the one god only, the Aten, or the sun disk, and with her husband she reigned at what was arguably the wealthiest period of ancient Egyptian history. Scholars believe that Nefertiti ruled briefly as Neferuaten after her husband's death and before the accession of Tutankhamun. Although this identification is a matter of ongoing debate, if Nefertiti did rule as pharaoh, her reign was marked by the fall of Amarna and relocated the capital back to the traditional city of Thebes. She had many titles, including hereditary princess, great of praises, lady of grace, sweet of love, lady of the two lands, many king's wife, his beloved, great king's wife, his beloved, lady of all women, and mistress of Upper and Lower Egypt. And while modern Egyptological pronunciation renders her name as Nefertiti, her name was probably contemporaneously pronounced as Nefertiti. So, we'll see. She was definitely a beautiful woman, and they say that Akhenaten and Nefertiti had elongated heads. That's why they wore these very strange headdresses. And from what we see from the stele with the little two daughters, who had bare heads that we see, they also had elongated heads. So we'll see what they come up with. I'll leave links below for you for this on Wikipedia and Sputnik. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.